Mama's been hurting, 'cause Daddy's been down. Ain't nobody been working since the mill left town. They got two youngins not 10 years old, with $200 left in his billfold. A week's worth of groceries is the price of gold when your whole damn country's been bought and sold. Whenever there's been hard times, it's always made hard folks who could get her to the other side and not let it be all she wrote. I'd love to live to be an old man, but God, you can take me a young one. Just don't let the land I love die so young. Of the I sing, I've been flying low in my troubled mind. Get to digging me a hole my soul can't climb. It's the end of the world, but nobody knows, 'cause they all just stare at the trash on their phones in a land that's littered with many men's bones who died fighting for somewhere they could call home. Whenever there's been hard times, it's always made hard folks who could get her to the other side and not let it be all she wrote. I'd love to live to be an old man, but God, you can take me a young one. Just don't let the land I love die so young. Of thee I sing,
flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody's having a great day. Got a good stream lined up for y'all. Man, I've been on an absolute heater making sure that this audio comes in loud and clear. And again, it has absolutely tormented me from the TikTok days where I would go through about 5 minutes and then I would look at the chat and they'd be like, "We can't hear you, bro." So that is why I always do that. And to everybody that tuned in earlier this morning to George Webb, thank you. I know that it was a cross-streamed live, but that was the Hive Mind's biggest stream that we've ever had. We had almost 7,000 people watching. So to everybody that did tune in, thank you so much. If you've not seen that, that is underneath my live tab, both on X and on YouTube. That was pretty exciting. George Webb is awesome, and his firsthand experience being down on the ground is unmatched. So what we're going to be diving into tonight, because I did talk about the Charlie Kirk assassination this morning, and as of yesterday, there was a third batch of the ISP photos dropped. I believe it was the third batch. I have not looked through them in detail, so we're going to be getting into that tonight. I have some interesting Hive Mind finds surrounding the 911 call, of all things, to continue to dive into. It's just very interesting. And there's also been 7 filings in 4 days in a rapid manner. Lots of urgency, no transparency. It's quite the theme, isn't it? But nonetheless, let me say what's up to everybody. Savvy Rooster, good to see you. Luna, it was great. Lori, good to see you. Kuda, Sarah Sushi, Laura, Davina Duvall, such a cool name. Susan, Jamie, absolutely. Please hit that like button. Swipe down on the chat right now. Press the thumbs up. Crown, what's the word, bird? Growth Renewal, good to see you. Philly Special. Thank you, Chrissy. Appreciate that. What up, Corp? Tara B. Rayanne, Robin, Scout. You guys can find that live on my YouTube channel. I'll show you real quick. So you're going to go to my channel. You're going to press the live button. You're going to press this button right here. Oh, right here. And it is this interview right here. So that is where you can find the stream with George Webb. Good evening, Tracy and Angie and Katie and Mr. Smixon. Robert, Amanda B from West Virginia. Paul is tuning in from Porto Alegre, Brazil. Where's everybody else tuning in from? Not an NPCs in Texas. Dina left her DNA. I love that. Crystal White, good to see you. Shells, Bex Tats, what's Gucci? Nathaniel, good to see you. Amazing Deadman 24, what up, what up? Julie, Brian's in Chicago. Steph's in South Louisiana. Stacy, how are you doing? And Lisa and Annie and Jesse's girl, Rose Cookie. UFO Dogs tuning in from my basement. River Bear Teacup, good to see you. Essie, keeping Robin in check. Shout out to 1111, Mitty Witty. Carrie, how are you doing? UK Karen, and we got UK Kaylee. Love the UK folks in the Hive. Carissa explains it all. Holding it down over on X. Thank you so much. How many people are in that X chat right now? And if it hurts my feelings, that's okay, because I can only have one volume check, and I do YouTube just because I'm used to that. Valencia. Sorry if I said that wrong. Good to see you. Carrie, Dina. We got we got Boise, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Australia, Ohio, Tennessee, South Carolina, Michigan, Florida, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Carolina, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, but tuning in from New Jersey as well. Verona, Italy. Wow, that's awesome. I've not been to Italy. I would love to get there. South Africa, good to see you, Sue. UK, Texas, Pasadena. Is that where Is Pasadena where Friday Night Lights was or no? Washington. Now that I said that, that doesn't sound right. Maybe it is. Area 51, Nevada. I'm jealous, Dan. Waxahachie, Texas. Never heard of that city, but that's awesome. Georgia, Portland, East Texas, Virginia, Bradford, Nashville, another Australia, Hive Down Under. Land of finance pros. Where are you at? Like Northwestern Mutual, Chrissy? UK, Idaho. Go Tigers. UFO Dogs now holding it down on X. Thank you so much. Yvette's in South Carolina. Oh, Odessa. That's right. That is right. Yes. And thank you, Nicole. Thank you for the super chat. Now is a good time to get into my disclaimer and to quick plug the channel, as Nicole did just give a super chat. So all of my streams are free. I do not charge for any of the streams that are at 7 p.m. I don't charge for any streams. None. Zero. All that I ask is that when you go to my channel, you just hit that subscribe button. And for the other apps like TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, the next time that you're on that app, just type in Birdie and hit follow or hit like, whatever the app would need, as that does help the algorithm. Those are all newer profiles, so getting those numbers up would be nice and helpful. And then I have some new merch coming on birdiebombshell.com, which that will be nice. That will allow me to continue to grow the stream, keep the streams free, and you guys will get something in return. So I'm very excited with the work that a few members in the Hive have been doing. And that's going to be, it's just going to be fun. It's going to be epic. The art that people in the Hive are capable of creating blows my mind. It's awesome. And here's some of the merch that we do have right now. This is available on birdiebombshell.com. We got the MSNPC t-shirts. We got a handful of hoodies that are embroidered, and we have tinfoil hats and Hive Mind hats as well. So right now, those have free shipping. We do ship internationally. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep any of this merch up once we get our new lineup. So those will be up probably for another 2 weeks. So if you do like any of the stuff on this lineup, that would be the time to grab it, is now. And before I get into the Discord question of the day, I just want to say, if this is your first time in the Hive, this is a contrarian thinking live stream. We are not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you're easily rattled or offended on behalf of others, this is not going to be the stream for you. However, if you'd like to look past the mainstream media's headlines, you see through their BS, and you like to, quote, be the conspiracy theorist in your friend group, you are now amongst friends and you have found your people. So thank you for tuning in this evening. I'm going to get on to the Discord question of the day. This comes from Savvy Rooster. And this is the first time I've ever done this, but I'm actually going to let a video ask all of the Hive the question of the day. I thought this was funny.
If your friends and family members don't think that you're absolutely psychotic, tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist lunatic, are you even awake?
And I don't know about you guys, but I can absolutely relate to all of that. And I don't know if my friends and family would say that I'm absolutely a psychotic lunatic. However, I feel like they do know that if they ask me a question in regards to, so what do you think about that? They're in for a very in-depth explanation. And it's always interesting because I don't know how I feel about this. And if you're self-aware, which I would guess most people in here are, seeming how you look into stuff like this, have you ever had a situation where you are talking about a subject that you've researched and you've looked into more than whoever asked you the question? For example, let's talk Idaho 4, because we're talking that tonight. We've looked into that at lengths, like hours and hours. And when somebody were to ask you, if somebody were to ask you rather, so you think Brian Koberger is innocent? And you start laying out facts, and they kind of give you that chuckle. You know, like the little like, and they kind of look around because they don't know what to say. Either they're trying to like set you up and make you feel dumb, but you're so used to already feeling like everybody else is just unable to think that it doesn't bother you, but they do it in a way where they laugh and they think it's funny and they're not even actually listening. That seems to be a very common experience that I've had amongst really good friends, and it's not knocking them. It's just that they don't know what to do. They think you're going to shout out some random crazy conspiracy, but then you're like, well, according to the court documents that are all sealed and redacted, and the judge referenced national security, and that they have not shown any pictures of the bodies. There's, really nothing that we've seen. We haven't even found the knife sheath or seen it, at least. I don't even know if it exists. The roommate waited 8 hours to call 911. The timeline is that of a Jason Bourne timeline. They just kind of are like, they don't know what to do. And it's uncomfortable for everybody. It's probably actually more uncomfortable for the person asking the question. I should rephrase that. It's uncomfortable for everybody that's listening to that, including the person who asked it. But it's not uncomfortable for you when you answer it. If anything, there's like a sense of power. There's a sense of pride. They're like, ask me anything. Because if you say something that does fit in with an effed up timeline or complete garbage narratives and headlines surrounding it, I would agree with you. I would say, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense. I wouldn't die on the hill of something that is in the mainstream that I'm also agreeing with. Now, those things are few and far in between. But if you were to say, do you think that that's Brian Koberger's car on camera leaving the house? And you tried to explain to them that it was not an off duty. It was a plainclothed police officer that was undercover looking for open intoxicants in a Ford Fusion hybrid that's silver, and due to the infrared lights and the camera settings on a Ring doorbell, it makes it look white at night. Now, I just laid out very crystal clear reasons as to why something might look that way, but they can't get it. They can't wrap their head around it. I hope that you all know what I'm trying to explain, because if you've been in that situation, I feel like that's a relatively accurate way when you can hear that chuckle. That chuckle is all you need to know about it. And we're going to get into some Hive Mind finds here. And then when we get into the photos, it's going to become much more of an open dialect type stream with the Hive. And going into the Hive Mind finds, I noticed this. Somebody had posted this on the 17th. So, geez, almost a week ago. But I was scrolling up looking for some for the Idaho 4, since we've been talking about Charlie Kirk recently. And I don't know how I missed this in the chat. And if you all saw this in the chat, Lana had said, Ann Taylor allegedly contacted the Innocent Project. My source is pretty solid. And Cat's Mojo had submitted that. Now, there's been rumblings about the Innocence Projects. I've shown like a DNA specialist from Idaho that I believe was talking about either submitting it to the Innocence Project or backing some form of the Innocence Project. I don't feel like Lana would say the Innocence Project unless she was talking about the Innocence Project. So that would be wild. I'm also shocked that it's not. If I was running the Innocence Project and this is a legitimate, straightforward case, I'd be licking my chops waiting to get this case, because I'd be like, this is going to be the best. This is going to be the best and biggest turnaround of a wrongful conviction that we've ever seen. And I know like Sherlock had said that a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of people that have been saying it. And that's exactly right. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that she's not wrong or that she's not right in the fact that the Innocence Project is. I think there's a lot of people that like to go with the reality of the courts. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking that. It doesn't mean that you can't critically think. It doesn't mean you can't look at something with a critical eye. I just think that we all have to be honest with ourselves too. If we were to look at the courts, like Brian Koberger is sitting in prison. We think it's bullshit. We think he's getting railroaded. We think it might be an operation. We don't know what it is, but that is the reality. Is maybe he's not actually sitting in prison, and then you go deeper operation. But from what we saw in the courts, that dude did essentially end up going to jail for the crimes on a very surface level, right? We can argue, and I know this chat and this hive can go deep down the rabbit holes with the best of them, and I'll be right there with you. But I do think that this aspect right here would be extremely, extremely interesting to see how the narrative would react to that. Exactly. You and the lone wolf narrative can take several seats, respectfully. Nicole stays coming with the super chats. Thank you, Nicole. She said most people like to just go with whatever mainstream media is feeding them and they take it for fact 100%. So if you question that, then you're a conspiracy theorist because media told them it was true. Now, Nicole, to this point, I used to be getting, I can't talk. I used to get called a conspiracy theorist in high school, you know, and it felt different than it does today. If you get called a conspiracy theorist now, or if I hear one of my buddies, like, let's say we're all hanging out, or let's just say like in a group chat, they're like, oh, like that's a conspiracy, or that person's a conspiracy theorist. In my head, I'm like, I need to go listen to like whatever they're saying right now. Like, I need to go talk to that person. It's very similar to like the Candace Owens aspect that's happening with Charlie Kirk. Take anything that she's saying out of it. The machine, the media machine, is going at her so hard. And there are people that are going to just watch Candace. More eyes are going to be on Candace because the media machine has not realized or recognized or understood that when they do that, people who can critically think say, "No, I'm going to turn your channel off. I'm going to go listen to what you're telling me I can't hear." Right? I'm going to go tune into to them, the banned information. I don't want to listen to your BS because clearly you're the safe mainstream narrative that is probably not even true. It's boring. It's not true. And it's fun to use your brain. So I'm going to go listen to Candace rant and bring receipts with that rant instead of you just trying to discredit her. You're trying to discredit her instead of discrediting what she's saying. The only discrediting aspect that I've heard anybody say to Candace is like, Charlie didn't even like you. You haven't been there. And she's like, okay, well, I spoke at an event in 2024. They were texting, and we've gone down that rabbit hole. This stream's about Idaho 4, but the bigger point is whenever the mainstream media goes and attacks somebody who's like, quote, an independent, that independent always ends up growing. And you can probably realize what I mean by that is people are like, well, I'm going to go see what they're saying. Is it crazy or is it not? And then guess what? The mainstream media ends up losing viewers because more people are going to stay and listen to her, the crazy person, the person you're trying to discredit. It always backfires. Broccoli Rob said, I'm glad you're out of jail, Birdie. I've missed your lives. I am very happy that it was only about a 48-hour ban. So thank you for being here, Broccoli Rob. Now, this is interesting, okay? I don't know who sent me this. So I found this from the Hive Mind section on Discord. So if that was you, please put it in the chat. It's a TikTok from Sour Patch Kid. And when I went back, I must have accidentally closed the tab out on Discord, or I scrolled to a different thread. I couldn't find this. So I'm glad that I had it opened. But I'm going to play this. It's about a 9-minute video. This person broke down what I was trying to do in the Hive, and she did it so much better than anything that I was trying to do. But I was talking about how in the 911 call that we've enhanced, that other people have enhanced, it's like you hear things going on in the background when the operator's there, when they say lines up and syncs up. Now, I know Outcast did some audio with the visuals, but this video seems to tap into what I was thinking that I was hearing as well. And I don't know if Sherlock was on stream that night. It was back when I think I had Sherlock Romes on that we kind of briefly went over that and how it seems like you would hear things in just the recording, but then in the body cam, you weren't hearing them or they weren't lining up. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. But if you did send this, I apologize. Oh, Sherlock, you tagged me in this. Okay. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Yeah, Sherlock, maybe you tagged me in this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play it. All right, let's get the volume up. All right. Here we go, Hive. One second.
So that we can see it clear as day. Okay, so this is where at 3:03 in the video, you will hear the police radio in the background, and you'll hear the actual first responder or whatever to the scene saying en route. 2:20. Okay, now we're at 3 minutes and 51 seconds, and you're going to hear Dylan tell the 911 operator that there is police there right now.
There's a police here right now. Okay. If there's a defibrillator available for...
Okay, so at 4:01 in the video, you will hear the police radio in the background saying, not conscious, not breathing.
We don't have...
And then, I forgot to mention this in the last video, but at 4:05, you'll hear Dylan ask the officer that's on scene if he has a defibrillator, and he replies, yep.
Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one. Are you talking to the officer? Yes.
Okay, so as you can see too, that she was asked again if she was talking to the officer, and she replied yes.
You have one. Are you talking to the officer? Yes. Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay. 11:59.
Okay, so you heard that the call ended at 11:59 and 49 seconds. Okay, so now we're at the body cam footage of the first responding officer on scene. The first officer on scene responding to this call. Hello, you see what time it is? 12 o'clock and 6 seconds. 12 o'clock, huh? Okay, so it shows right there on the body cam footage that the first responding officer showed up at 12 p.m. and 6 seconds. If you still don't believe me and you think that this is still the first responding officer to the scene, well, we remember what happened, right? When she was on the 911 call, talking to the officers that were on scene, right? Okay, so let's check out this body cam footage. All right, here we go. He literally just parked. Got out. No other cop cars, no other cops. No other cop cars, no other cops. I already paused down that last video and showed you down the street that there was no cops there yet. Gets his bag.
Where's she at?
He just asked, where's she at? Mind you, it's 12 o'clock and 26 seconds. But the first thing that he's saying to them is, where's she at? And this is their response.
Yep. Where's she at? Where's she at? Where at? Up here?
I'm pretty sure I didn't hear that on the 911 call. Yeah. And if you're like, well, you know, maybe he says it to them later. Okay. Okay, so this is the first time that he's coming back outside since he went in the first time and only asked them, where's she at? It is now 12:02 and 52 seconds. It's now almost 3 minutes after he arrived here. Okay.
Okay. Nobody's allowed to leave for now. Okay. Just stay here for me, please.
That's all he says to them, and he walks away. Okay, so you literally saw that she never asks him about a defibrillator, and you remember the officer on the 911 call responded to her and said, yep. So there was that conversation between the two of them. Also, on top of the fact that she couldn't have been possibly talking to the first responding officer on scene if she made the 911 call at 11:55 and 42 seconds. And it ended at 11:59 and 49 seconds. And the first responding officer on scene, we saw with the body cam footage.
And that was the point that I wanted to make right there. We hear, yeah, he's here now, or yeah, yet. So that is very odd. It's very odd. How could the cop be there when the body cam says 12 noon and 6 seconds, yet you hear the phone call end before that, and on the phone call you heard the cop? That's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily even Dylan's response. It's that time is not lining up with what you hear on the phone when you listen to the recording and then the body cam timestamp.
He arrives at 12 o'clock and 6 seconds, which we know has to be correct because their body cams have to be synchronized, right, to the servers and accurate, and they're checked all the time and synchronized. So knowing that, then we can definitely go by his body cam footage timestamp because it's correct, right? And come to the conclusion that he arrived on scene, no other cops there, at 12 o'clock and 6 seconds. And then we have the recording from the automated whatever that states the 911 call was from 11:55 and 42 seconds until 11:59 and 49 seconds. So those are both facts. It's not anything.
Hang on. Condensed sleep. Time on different body cams do not have to be synchronized. This ain't Star Trek. I'm confused. What do you mean the time on different? You're saying that each officer's body cam time does not have to be synchronized. I don't know if that's what you mean. So I'm giving that the benefit of the doubt as to what you mean, because kind of like what Luna said, like the time is a time, and if it's on a body cam, they should all be the same. You're saying they don't sync it to the 911 center. That seems like an easy fix, and it seems like that should be synced up, right? If I'm not saying that is not the case. I didn't know that a 911 call center wouldn't be lined up with the body cams of their officers in the field. That seems like that would be an absolute nightmare, diving back through anything ever. So you're going to say the call came in at, how would that ever be accurate then? Right. I get what you guys are saying, that the body cam and the dispatch center might not be the same, but that seems like yeah, it just seems like one would think they would have to be. Because what if they're, being off by just a few seconds, like imagine if someone's on the phone with a 911 operator and the cop's body cam is ahead and that person on the phone gets killed, but because that cop's body cam is ahead, and they would say, well, the cop was on scene, but they weren't because their body cam was ahead, that's a huge liability, right? And then Sherlock's coming and saying they're all synced. I did a whole video on how and why the body cams, 911 dispatch, CAD system, PD website, 911 call log, reporting software, all synchronized to the same second. That seems like it would be a requirement. That doesn't seem like it would even be an issue. I would find it hard to believe that these giant mega companies like Motorola or whatever other body cam companies are out there, Watchdog or whatever software it is, wouldn't pilot this with any and every software that a 911 call center would use. Yeah, that is so profound. Time is time. I saw Luna say that. Yeah, man. I agree. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, Taylor, thank you so much for the super chat. Taylor, can you explain why that is? Did that ever cause confusion? So Taylor said, I used to be a dispatcher. The time in the center was always a few minutes behind the actual time. But in this situation, it's the opposite, which maybe that does happen. And thank you for that insight and for the super chat. But did that ever cause an issue? This seems like a massive issue that should be fixed then. Now, hot mess success. That's funny how you spelled that. X dispatch, all computer system. I'm sorry. X dispatch, all computer items were synced the same. Only clock and center, manual, or our personal cells were slightly different. See? That's crazy. And that's my thought exactly, Kevin. What is the point of a clock that may or may not be accurate? What do you mean nobody's on the phone when they arrive? You're saying that Dylan's not or Bethany's not? Nobody's on the phone? Right, but that wouldn't mess up the seconds, right? Because there is something to be said. I've dug into this where depending on what company of the body cam you're using, they could be in UTC or they might be in the local time zone. All right. Well, we're going to go back and I want to see that now. I'm going to pull up the body cam. All right, let's see this.
Where's she at? Yep. Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at? Yep. Where's she at?
And who is this here? Who is that there?
Yep. Where's she at? Where's she at?
Okay, that kind of looks like she's on the phone.
she at? Where's she at?
God. I don't know. I don't know because in one light it makes sense in my brain, like when that girl was watching the TikTok, but then here it sounds like it. But then it has to come back to the times being off, which then also just messes up my brain because I can't wrap my head around the fact that a 911 dispatch center wouldn't have the same time as the body cams, but apparently that's relatively normal. Or it's not normal. We've had conflicting results. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Well, that's a good discussion. That was a good discussion because to condense Sleep's point, saying that they're not going to be the same, to me kind of saying that I'd find that hard to believe. And then we have an ex-dispatcher say, no, they were always a little bit ahead. But then we have another one that says that they were on. And Jeff H, what up, Jeff? I wonder if the 911 call redacted and chopped out some of the silent parts. Could be. I guess that could be. The timestamps are just odd to me in the entirety. Yeah, thank you, Gary. So that's Emily. And Taylor, thank you again for the super chat. You rock. So Taylor was ex-dispatch. She was the one that was saying that the time was a little bit ahead, but now she just said the CAD systems were all the same, phones, etc., but the clocks on the wall weren't. Oh. So just to clarify, you're saying in the digital audio that we're hearing, that time should be the same as the body cam. But then you're saying on the office clocks, whether they're digital or not, those would be ahead. But let's clarify this. The voice that says 11:56 or whatever time it says, that should be the same. Where's she at on the now? Yeah. That was my point, Sherlock. This exactly. All right, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat while I type. What? Okay. How is this a totally normal thing? Yes, it's totally normal. The most common legit reasons 911 CAD times don't match officer body cams. Different clock sources. They usually sync to NTP. Many body cams are set manually at the agency or they drift over weeks. Okay, Hive. We might have a new business opportunity to take something that exists and make it better. Why don't we make a body cam that doesn't have a 30 to 180 second drift that's common? They've even seen plus or minus 5 to 10 minutes. Why don't we prevent an anti-drifting body cam? Are there any investors or funding? Is there funding out in the Hive? Okay, and Taylor says it should be synced, but I don't think they're ever exactly correct. That's my opinion. Well, thank you so much for the super chats and for the insight. You rock for that. Top dog to Taylor. Thank you. I mean, let's get some funding together. Let's get on Shark Tank. Let's make a pitch and say, hey, there's this case that was on the world news, and the body cams have this thing called the delta. Sometimes they're, what is it, an hour, 7 minutes, 26 seconds, 7 minutes, 26 seconds, 28 seconds. And it's known as drifting. And it's a huge liability. Angie said, when I worked in dispatch, my time in dispatch was the correct time. They all had to check my time to get the correct time. Okay. But you worked in a small town. Well, Moscow is not that big of a town, so. And Carrie says, ex-officer here. Okay. I love whenever we have people that actually did this for a living. So thank you, Carrie, for the comment. Ex-officer here. We, excuse me, we always received our report times from dispatch. We would call dispatch to get the time to write in the report when we sat down to write the reports. Okay. So there seems to be some sort of protocol that's in place when the reports go in. But doesn't that seem just, I understand what you're saying, Carrie, but doesn't that seem to be like a giant headache? So it makes sense. It just seems very fixable. No, I have not, but I'm assuming what you're going to say is that the time could drift due to some sort of connection or the whatever not being like the processing speed of whatever at the same time. I see how it could happen. I just would never have expected that for a body cam, rather. So again, great conversation. I learned something new today. You miss being here when it's a live feed. This is a live feed, ATL Drew. Yeah. No, it makes sense, guys. It makes sense. It's just rather it's mind-blowing. Okay, then Sherlock says this. Birdie, if you pull up the Moscow PD 2021 CAD body cam dispatch system switch press release from 2021, the big story was financially investing in second synchronization watchdog system. Okay, let's see if I can find this quickly, real quick. Moscow PD 2021 CAD body cam dispatch system switch press release 2021. Okay, here we go. This is interesting. So, the Moscow Police Department launched the use of WatchGuard body-worn cameras as of Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. The use of these cameras will provide an additional layer of transparency. Isn't that funny? It will provide an additional layer of transparency for the community and officers. Body-worn cameras will assist in gathering and sharing information and evidence more effectively in every effort to meet Moscow PD mission. So the Moscow PD body-worn camera protocol requires all sworn officers to wear and use the body-worn camera equipment during their entire shift. The camera is to be activated to record all calls for service, yada, yada, yada. The Moscow City Council approved the body-worn camera program for implementation during the budget hearing. The total cost to implement the program, including purchasing the equipment, at $59,000 and additional annual fees. This is crazy. Huh. Well, nonetheless, it's just interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is it like, is it annual fees to like store the footage or something? I don't know. But anyways, let's go through these new photos, Hive. I'm gonna go ahead and make this full screen. And let's go back. We'll start at the bottom here. This first photo. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And go full screen here. Okay. Oh no. Shoot, why did it do that? Oh, come on. All right. There we go. Okay. Got the full screen in here. I'll take the banner down so we can get it. And I will, for right now, just scroll this way. So these are the new photos. There's 602 of them. There's not anything that's I guess from what I've seen, just quickly kind of going through them, that crazy. Right. I understand. Okay. Let's all agree that body cams being off is not okay. Especially with the history of the MPD in this case, or at least the perceived history that we all 100% have seen the deltas in the body cams, not even perceived, proven, right? It's that people are saying it's normal, which is just crazy. That's what's weird about it. Kaylee B, you smoke the heaters? Yeah, please, God, let's agree on that. The Hive is on one tonight. That's hilarious. Right. That does make sense. That would be a huge selling point. That'd be a giant feature and benefit. And like I'm saying, if there's anybody that has deep pockets in the Hive that wants to fund a 100% or 99.9% accurately synced time with the dispatch center, let's talk. Somebody said Camel 80s, baby. Who was that, Phoenix? Do you think they tested that for DNA right away? You got the blood over here. You know what I don't understand about all these photos, Hive? Why are they releasing them in such separate batches? We've seen all of these outside pictures. Don't you think that these would all be like, if you're going to release batches of it, wouldn't it be like batches of the vehicles in the exterior of the property, batches of the living room and kitchen, like bathrooms? Instead, now it's like you got Koberger's apartment mixed into some, Koberger's office, Koberger's this. And then it's like, and now we've seen just different angles of these photos that have been released for, you know, however many times and for how long. And this is my first time seeing like all of these photos. I was just going through quickly. I'm telling you, I still absolutely think that that house looks like there was a party there that night. What do you guys think is in, like, what would they be blocking out? And I seriously am like, I'm wondering, are they really blacking out tampons? Is that what they're doing? How is, like, what would be worthy of blacking out tampons if that's what that is? That's the only thing I could think of. Like the top of a box like right here. Does anybody have any idea what they'd be blacking out in the kitchen cabinet? Tampons? Medication? But why? And then that, yeah, Amanda said that too. Like, they show them in the drawer. Oh my God. Dude. Les. That would be wild. If it was a pregnancy test. Ooh, I could see why you'd block that out. See, again, though, that's a logical thought. That was pretty quick, unless you've already thought about that. But even if you did, thank you for sharing that, because that was a good idea. This looks like a pet bowl, doesn't it? Well, I guess they have Murphy. It's a small water dish, though, for a dog, if that's what that is. Something else blacked out up top. Look at the reflection of the black box. Like here. Yeah, but like if it's cleaning chemicals, why would that's not unusual for a bathroom. Also, I don't feel like this window would even open. So I don't know why there'd be evidence tape there. But again, I don't know if that's just normal that you put evidence tape on every and all window. Oh, that's a bowl for hair dye. Yeah, good American anti-hero. Thank you. Some of these answers are funny. Holy Olaplex. I just like, I get the prescription label. I don't think that college kids are leaving prescriptions in bathrooms, though. I feel like that's something you'd keep in your room at that point, in that age, especially with how many people were coming over to their house. I feel like that's something you wouldn't have in a downstairs bathroom. I can see how that would make sense in our like homes now, if you're not living in a college town. But I don't feel like I'd keep a prescription bottle in. I don't think I'd keep a prescription bottle in a public bathroom. Or Miss Q, Advil, if Bethany would have had to leave her room. Personally, I feel like the only thing you'd cover up that would make a lot of sense is like a pregnancy test, like Lex said. How many pictures of this damn bathroom do you need? I also don't understand photos being, well, maybe if it has a family member in it, maybe. Is this a pill? Or like a hole punch? Or is that a marker of something? Are they marking something? I don't know. A perfect circle, whatever it is. That's at 500%. That's as much as I can do. They said this was Animal Crackers 1111. They said this was an Animal Cracker. That's wild if they said that. And it's interesting how it's only in that one picture. It's a, there's got to be one. There's got to be something in these photos. There's got to be something that they forgot, right? You would think. Am I the only one thinking that? There has to be something. Yeah, an animal cracker that'll make you dance all night. That's what I was thinking, Howard. Oh, there's someone in the chat named Animal Cracker. If that's the case and I misunderstood that 1111, I will clown horn myself. That's hilarious. Oh, there is. My bad. My bad. Wow. I also is there anybody who did ever take crime scene photos or the ex officer in here? Is this normal? Because it's on some photos, these dashed lines. Do you know why they would add those or why some do or some don't? I've noticed that. Actually, I can just why do some crime scene photos have dashed lines across them and others do not? Or they're copies, maybe? Well, while that loads, let's go back to this. And somebody said there's medicine in the fridge. I saw that. It's a location grid. So does that mean that there's something in this photo then? Yeah. So it's saying that these are usually added or introduced later. They're not a part of the original scene. It's for measurement or scale overlays, analysis annotations. Well, look at the first one. Investigators may draw dashed trajectories for bullets, blood stains, or field of view boundaries. So then if I do this, let's see. In this photo, what are these dashed lines for? So we don't get metadata. Interesting. Blood found on the bathroom doorway casing. Yeah, and there's really nothing in any of them, right? I mean, it's shocking, isn't it? I just feel like there's got to be something, right? Just nothing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Wise Gal. Some antibiotics. I know that when I was a teenager, there was like this face cream that I would keep in the fridge that I would put on before bed for acne. So these aren't. So this is interesting. It says these aren't part of the scene. They're export layout guides that got baked into this copy of the image. Right. Okay. So why are they added, or what's the point? Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like, let's be honest. This is like a huge mess. And condensed sleep is saying that it doesn't look like November. Yeah, I don't. Redaction boxing guides help place black boxes or blur areas with guides still visible. Would they replace a section with a non-contaminated version of the scene, and those lines would be a guide to line everything up that was bloody or redacted? Now that would be interesting. So it's saying that they will redact or box with those lines. It's guides that help place black boxes or blur areas on exact rows. Then someone exported with guides still visible, and it's saying no, swapping in a clean patch to replace blood is not acceptable for an evidence photo in standard practice. Interesting. Okay. So, huh. It's interesting. It's like they're only on some photos though. So why would they be on some photos and not others? Some say screenshot versus file export, batch templates, a report template with alignment guides might have been applied to some. This doesn't make any sense to my brain. Well, that little pill is gone. Or maybe it's right here. What if we just saw like a sheath right here, like under the fridge? I would shit a golden chicken. I think it was up there because it was right next to the white fridge, and then they opened the black fridge just when you could see it. Man, it's just, I don't know. There's just, it seems like they photographed everything and there's nothing. And I get people are like, there's a lot in there. Read the documents. Like to Phoenix's point, it's like, you know, if you read the notes, it says where they found it, but it's like, this just doesn't match at all. Even the little bit of the rooms that we got to see don't match. And that's not even a conspiracy theory. That's just like common sense. Right. Well, they didn't just blur it out. They freaking put a whole black box. See, like, that looks. Oh, that's a leaf. There's so many leaves in these pictures, too. We have not ever seen the knife sheath still, Shelby. Nope. Some might say it doesn't exist. I wonder if they use this mop. Someone's taking some BCAAs. Peanut butter's open. It's asking for bugs. What? Really? Do you have a video posted of it? Yeah, I got excited for. Hey, easy there, Animal Cracker. You got onions and Pepto Bismol. That's interesting. This case just makes my head burn. You know what's funny, Gary, is that caught my eye too. I'm like, oh, there's a little shooter of fireball there. I feel like that would be a noisy ass dishwasher with those there. I thought that same thing too, Karen. And this too. Why are we taking pictures of food? Oh, it says looking for a good time, call someone else. Is that a golf tee? Oh man. Riveting stuff for a third drop. Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Zozie, however you pronounce that. I apologize. You guys rock with the super chats. And Jeremy said, thanks for opening minds and looking deep into this case, Birdie and Hive. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for tuning in. You've always left great comments, and thank you so much for the super chat. When I was talking to George Webb as I'm scrolling through here, you know, it was really cool to hear him say, you know, he tunes in to the Hive for Idaho case. And you know, it says a lot about everybody in the chat too, because there's a lot of stuff that I'll say that completely dictates the flow of a stream based on how engaged the chat is. Or like we've had many streams where one comment in the Hive or from the Hive makes the entire stream and takes it in a completely different direction. So I know I'm not 100% the best at checking the chat, especially when I have guests on. But when it's streams like this and we're diving into stuff, I really do try to have, you know, my eyes kind of on both tabs that I have open, one being the chat, one being the photos. So thank you. If I ever do miss a comment, it is not personal or on purpose. An OG hiver from TikTok. Thank you, Blue Rain. The black box on top of the fridge. Oh, I think that's too far back. Right, exactly. I absolutely agree. You know, they release photos of nothing. Like this is just, again, it seems like we're being insulted. And that sounds weird to say that, but it's like, guys, this case, does anybody know the timeline of exactly what happened? Like there's some people that are saying like they know what happened, they know who did it, and yet they all the theories and what they've showed, it makes sense, but the it's just like, how is this such a quote mystery? Right. Sherry saying if you end up in jail, you might need to be bailed out. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have been talking about the time on the stove being interesting. And shout out to the people that are tuning in on X. I just went and looked. There's a handful of folks over there, so thank you. I'm going to get a Rumble account up and running. I was talking with Dana, who's helping me out with the merch, and I got a Rumble account, but it's not like I just have the username. So if you do have Rumble, you can go follow Birdie_Hive Mind, as I'll be able to stream on YouTube, Rumble, and X all simultaneously, which will be nice. But I'm not like officially launching that yet, but that'll be coming shortly. I've always said like this just looks like random shit that they've placed all over. Yeah, that's kind of my thought on it. What is that, like a corn on the cob thing? So we're at picture 425. We'll go to 400 today, and then we'll do the rest. We got 1132. That's interesting up here. See that? You guys see like all that discoloring? Oh, it's a pen top, or yeah, pen top. Doesn't that look like something? Doesn't that look like a stain? Or am I no? I feel like these are high quality cameras for photos. That just seems like something random they picked up. Is that a guitar pick? What is that? Is that a guitar pick, or is that like a grease stain? Yeah, that would make sense. Leak from the room above. Yeah. See, and then it's like, I don't know. Never mind. I don't even know. This towel really caught my eye too. It just seems very out of place. Like I know that this is like messy, but the towel just seems very out of place. I also have always wondered, like, I don't know if this is going to do anything, but I've been thinking this whole time. Like, what happens if I do this? Like, see that? Again, I don't know if this shows anything. It's just interesting to me. Especially the fact that I'm colorblind. So sometimes putting it into like this tinted color, I could see stuff better. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Thought I switched the tabs. See, this is a good point. This looks like, doesn't this look like it's spring? Maybe these are from spring. I mean, these look very green. Blankets. Thank you, Blue Eyed Candy. You rock. Top dog for yourself and to everybody that has given a super chat. We have 3 more photos to get through here. Birdie, that was a dart flight? What is that? A dart flight? A dart tip? Oh, like the back of the darts. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. I know what you're saying. That you slide down into a dart. Yeah, on like metal darts. Yeah. KS Chess and Art, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys rock. As long as you guys keep tuning in, I won't stop doing this. I'd probably be doing this whether or not I was streaming live or just probably diving into stuff, staying up way too late anyways. So thank you so much. Now, I do have a tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day that's a little bit of a teaser. And this is for an upcoming stream with Devil's Advocates, and it's on if Hitler faked his death. We threw that out there kind of at the end of the last stream. I grabbed the 2-minute clip here from the History Channel. I think that this stream with DA, if him and I do it right, it's going to blow people's minds. I mean, there's some declassified documents that have come out about this, but let's watch this clip. It's pretty interesting. Blue Eyed Candy, I love it.
Not sufficient.
So that'll be a very interesting stream, and I feel like DA is like the best person to do that with. And with that, Hive, thank you again to everybody that did tune in, not just for this stream, but the one this morning with George Webb. I will be live tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central. And with that, I hope that everybody has a fantastic night. Please, on your way out, if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe or that follow button if you are over on X. If you got Rumble and you want to follow me, I'm not going to stream there probably for a couple of days, but it's Birdie_Hive Mind. And as always, Hive, I hope you all have a great night's rest. Get up, crush the day tomorrow, and I will see you here back in the Hive, 7 p.m. Central. Cheers.
birds flying high. You know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.